A little bit better. A little bit better. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the law of attraction, one of my favourite subjects in the whole world. And if you're watching YouTube, Facebook, I think we're sharing out to the whole world. Hi, Laura. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So if you see us, please do comment. Or if you're seeing us on a replay, because we'll post it up here on our pages, then please comment replay and subscribe to us both. And come and join the flipping journey, I say. Join the journey.
Join the journey. Right, I'm done. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. Do you know what? Technology, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, I've just shared it to my Marcus Birks page as well. So
beautiful. Oh, excellent. So let's start. Let us start. So today we're going to be talking about the law of attraction. Because why not?
Why not? Why not?
That is what it's all about. And for me, I have lived my life subconsciously using the law of attraction all my life completely. Let me put this in my ear again. I'm off balance. No, it doesn't work like that either. Yeah, so I've used it all of my life without even knowing what it is. And during my journey of doing everything like I've been doing now since the pandemic started, and I've been throwing myself into helping people as much as I possibly can, because people have needed a way to use perspective on this situation. Because if you look from a small point of view, it can look quite daunting and it can look very dark and blinkered. But as soon as you open up perspective, the light shines down, and you get a much clearer picture of what's happening, where you're going, and what you're attracting. So since I've been on this journey, I've been looking at how I use the law of attraction in my everyday life. And I think one of the most important things to me is to be happy right now. Whatever I'm doing, not just be happy, be ecstatic. And people may look at me and go, that ain't right. She's not right in the head, which is possible. They'd be somewhat completely right. But I really do feel it. And when I feel happy, I'm bursting out. I'm like, I feel like there's this light just bursting out of me, and I just want to share as much of this happiness as I possibly can to infect everybody with my happiness, and everyone else with their happiness to infect everyone else. And it's like a big
virus
exponential.
The virus of the law of attraction. Let's spread that around.
We're on it. So yeah, law of attraction.
Yeah, I think like, we've had these conversations on and off camera over the last few months. Yeah. And one of the things that obviously me and Danielle have been talking about off camera is the law of attraction and why it does work for some people and why it doesn't work for some people. And I think you hit a good point then, Danielle. It's like you have this unwavering faith in happiness, and you are genuinely, I know you personally, and I know that obviously you are one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life. And even though I follow the law of attraction and it's a big part of my life, we've discussed this many times, we just come at it from slightly different viewpoints, but we're on the same journey. So either way you look at it, it's like, how does the law of attraction work for you, and then how does it work for me? And I must admit, when I first not when I first met you, because obviously we've known each other for many years, but when I first reconnected with you after many years, I was like, is she really that happy and that positive all of the time? Like, because I know that as much as I try and follow positivity and the law of attraction and positive mindset, like, I'm just not that positive all of the time. Like, I'm just not. And you are, like, you really are. So,
I have bad days. Don't get me wrong, I'm completely human, and I have days where everything around me is frustrating and I just want to go, no, but that's all right, because everybody has those days, and it's, that it's going to get through that. And if you can change, if you're feeling that, there's a reason why you're feeling that. So if you can change your mood, change your perspective, and like maybe do something completely different, take the focus off of the frustration, go change that focus and do something completely different, and go for a walk or read a book or put some music on that you really like, that takes you back, like, to when you're growing up as a teenager, all of those things that give you that positive blast into and changes your focus, that can be all it takes, just to switch.
Absolutely love that, Danielle. It's funny because I had a friend of mine on the phone the other day that's suffering with anxiety quite a lot. So I've been coaching them through the anxiety problems they're having right now. And I've always said this. I say this so many times. I think the law of attraction, the way that we approach the law of attraction, is actually how we can approach recovery and anxiety. That's why, although I am doing transformation life coaching and law of attraction coaching, because I've gone through anxieties and stuff myself over the years, I've decided to add that as my kind of as my third leg, as such, as like anxiety coaching, because I think that anxiety coaching is you can treat anxiety through the law of attraction coaching, because it's a very similar outlook. And as you just said about listening to music you used to listen to when you was a kid,
Yeah.
that is a very good way of getting yourself into that vibration and that frequency. And for anybody that's really new to the law of attraction, what we mean by that is just raising your energy to match good energy out there. So this friend of mine was telling me like why they can't recover and why they can't do this, why I can't do that, and I came up with just a simple thing. I said, look, even though it's difficult in the moment, and I know I've been there, so I've lived it, and I know what it's like to suffer badly with anxiety, and it's doing the right thing over and over again, even when it doesn't feel right, even
Yeah.
when it doesn't feel right. So at the moment, they don't want to go home. They're staying with the parents and stuff. And I'm like, maybe go home in small increments. Go and watch a movie that you used to love. What's your favorite movie? Go and watch that at home. And it'll start to reprogram how you feel about being at home on your own. Go and take a hot bath and listen to music that you used to love when you was growing up as a kid, because that is setting a good environment for you all around.
Yeah.
And then maybe go to bed listening to some, relaxing music. Now, obviously, this was a whole process of talking about these things, so I don't want to go too deep on anxiety here, because obviously it's not an anxiety talk. But again, those tactics are kind of law of attraction tactics. It's to raise your vibration and put yourself into a positive space, because when you are in a positive space, then you attract more positive things. Because in the words of Tony Robbins, where focus goes, energy flows.
Nice.
And I love that saying because what we focus on, we get. So Tony Robbins uses this technique, and we're both big fans of Tony. He's a great guy, and he uses this technique, and he uses it in many different ways. But the technique is, and I won't do it now as the plan, but he's like, look for everything brown in the room, look for everything brown in the room, and then he does this process, and then he'll say, now look and find something red, and you're kind of looking around and looking for the brown, and you're starting to find brown, and then you look for the red, and then you're like, oh, so you start to look for the red, and then he'll say, look for the red, look for the red. And then he says this thing, it's like, how many of you found burgundy and called it red just because you wanted to be right? And that's the point. You're looking for what you want. So where your focus is going, the energy is flowing. And that's a great little analogy of that. So at its core, I think the law of attraction is as many layers, like an onion. It just has many layers.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that the law of attraction doesn't work for them just because they're looking at it from the wrong layer, if that makes sense. They're looking at it from the wrong layer. So I mean, obviously, you're going to have your own take on this, and I've got my views on why the law of attraction has worked for me, why it hasn't worked for me, and why I think it does and doesn't work for certain people. Because there's some incredible stories. I mean, you have an incredible story. We meet so many people, especially in the music industry. We've met so many people with these incredible life stories about how they've transformed their lives and gone from poverty to having loads, or gone from like things going completely wrong to things going totally right. And this is all part of a journey, and it's all part of the law of attraction. Because let's not forget something, we don't just attract the good things into our life, we can actually attract the bad things into our life.
Absolutely.
That's something to really think about.
Absolutely. I mean, in life, we've all got, it's very possible that many people are going through challenging times at the moment. It's completely possible, because obviously the situation that everyone's in, and we're all in it together. We really are all in it together. I mean, whether you've got multi-millions of pounds, you might be experiencing things in a more luxurious way, but with the exception of maybe a couple in the government, but we won't go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just something else. But like the majority of this world is going through a very challenging time to do with looking at who we are. Who are we inside? Who are we? Can we look in the mirror in the morning and be grateful for a million things around us that we do have rather than what we don't have? Because gratitude is a massive, massive thing. And when you look in the mirror in the morning, and you look at yourself, and I'm not talking about what you look like on the outside, internal light, internal goodness. Are you feeling good about who you are? And if you're not feeling good about who you are, what can you do to switch that around? Because we are all incredible human beings. We are on this planet, we are alive, and we are creating the world that we wish to be in and to see around us. And that really is what we are creating. So if we're attracting negativity, and if we're asking for negativity, ask the universe. I ask all the time. Thank God. It must be getting bored of hearing my voice. But I ask for guidance all the time. And some people may call it spirit, some people may call it God, some people may call it source energy, some people may call it your inner voice. And there are a million different things that you can call who you get guidance for, just an inner knowledge, a gut feeling, all of these things, guidance. And if you can ask that guidance and know where that is, how it feels to you, and what you could do is maybe ask the universe, and I'm going to call it the universe because that's how I ask. And I always say, dear universe, please can you be with me for this next conversation, so that I don't sound like a complete moron and spout out a load of rubbish out my mouth, which is possible. Very possible. And what I get like a shiver or a chill going down me, and it's like, that is my yes. That is my yes. That's how I interpret it. So I feel that's good. And the thing is, I'm not externalizing it. I'm not giving the reins to someone else to help me. I'm not doing that. But all I'm asking is, I'm taking control of my own reins and asking for that extra bit of guidance that is part of me, because we are all at one with the universe and we're all at one with source. I'm asking that to be with me even more. And it likes being asked. Source energy loves being asked. It loves being involved in your life. It loves it, and it loves being thanked. So don't be scared to ask and to say thank you, because gratitude is absolutely everything. And to ask is whether it's asking for help in life generally, whoever it may be that you ask, it might be a therapist, it might be God, it might be anyone that's in your life, a mentor, anything. Don't be scared to ask, because the thing is, you may not get the answer that you want to hear. You may not. But what you will get is a little direction that will point you on the way, so that you can get to that point where you can take action. And action, when you take action and you ask, that's when the magic can happen. That's when the law of attraction really comes into full play, from my experience.
Yeah, and I that brings me on to something that I talk about a lot, as you know, in my videos, Danielle, is people will say the law of attraction is not working for me. It's not working for me, because I'm putting out these wishful thoughts out there. I'm thinking about what it is that I want, and it's just not happening. And a lot of the time, if they actually take a step back, they'll realize that they're focusing on what they don't want rather than what they do want. So if you keep saying, I don't want this to happen, or I'm not getting this, you're just putting energy out of lack, or you're focusing on totally the wrong thing. So I just use this as a basic terminology. So it could be for anything. So it could be, you go, well, I want a better body, and I keep wishing that I've got a better body, but it just doesn't seem to happen for me. But what action are you actually taking towards getting that better body? Are you changing your diet? Are you going to the gym? You know, there's so many variables to that, because the law of attraction isn't just a magic lamp. We can't just rub this magic lamp and go, I wish for £1 million tomorrow, and then it's just going to fall into your lap. Now, don't get me wrong, if you buy a lottery ticket, that might happen, but you've got to buy the lottery ticket in the first place, haven't you? You know, you've got to take some form of action towards that. Now, people can argue, some people will argue and go, yeah, but like someone could just get left some inheritance, or, you know, this, you can have these little arguments from everywhere. But if you, these things, I'm not saying miracles don't exist in the world. Sometimes miracles do happen. Sometimes you do just get lucky. But in my experience, luck is a God-given thing in some respects. Like, I feel like we was born in the UK, we live in the UK. We're luckier than most of the world because we was lucky enough to be born here. We could have been born anywhere. My real dad is from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is quite a poor country. So I could have been born into a very poor country in my genetic pool, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was lucky to be born into the UK.
Can I just make a point on that? One point on that is that the people in Bangladesh, I mean, you may be born in England, and whoever it is may be born in England, but to be happy, truly happy, and feel grateful, you don't need technically anything. Really, it's internal. So in Bangladesh, I mean, or in the third world countries, what we recognise as rich, or as you know, like everything, what we recognise as material.
It's very much material, yeah.
That's it. Whereas they're, I mean, my parents, they went to, oh gosh, it was a jungle in the middle of nowhere where there was a tribe, and they existed. They had nothing there. They weren't even allowed to bring them paper or pens or anything like that, because they literally had nothing. And my parents went there, and they said, and it was down this like little river in the middle of the jungle somewhere that they went on this thing. It was a special tour. And they said that in that place, every kid was laughing, playing, had a smile on their face, full of the joy of the world. And they had nothing. I mean, I've been to Thailand and Cambodia where they're living under shacks like you wouldn't believe, and I've seen the most incredible things. Like, from our perspective, they've got nothing technically, but from their perspective, if they've got that, what they need, everything that they need in their lives, and the love in their lives that they've got, that is just beautiful. That's all they need. That's wealth to them, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. I mean, totally true. And that's what I mean. It's like, from our point of view, and that's what I'm talking about a lot. That's a really good point, Danielle, of what we perceive a lot of the time is based on a material thing. So when we think about material things, that's how people will go, oh, the law of attraction is not working for me, because actually they're thinking about a material thing. Now, of course, the law of attraction does bring material things into your life if you've got a good enough energy around that material thing. So coming back to the luck thing, like, I could have been born into a poorer country material wise.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in some of these poor countries as well, they are poor into the point of, we know that, maybe 75 to 80% of the world live on less than $2 a day. Unfortunately, that means that people are going hungry in the world. So when I grew up, I grew up in a poor home for the UK. And now I say poor home. I used to live in this victim mentality of like, oh, we're so poor and life is just against me and this and that. And I realized that we had clean water in the taps. We had hot water in the taps. We had a roof over our head. We actually had food. Now, we didn't have a lot of food in the house, but we probably had more food than most people. And I used to get school meals. I loved school meals. A lot of people moan about school meals. I'm like the best meals I ever had growing up. So, but that is a blessing. That is a blessing that we have. And when you look at your blessings, and this is the thing, I think being in the moment, as we've talked about in this, it's being in the now and being grateful for the things we've got, not just material things we've got. Are you grateful for your eyes? Are you grateful for your hands? Are you grateful for your feet and the oxygen that we breathe? And these are not little things. These are huge things. These are the reasons you can see. These are the reasons you can, your ears that you can hear, and you're standing up. And some people are not blessed to stand up, but they're blessed with other things. And I was doing a video the other day, and I was talking about a guy that goes to my gym, Really incredible guy. He had an accident and lost the use of his legs, and he goes to the gym more than me. And I'm like, when I'm feeling like I can't be bothered to go to the gym, sometimes I think about this guy, and I see him come into the gym, always like, just a motivational guy. I think he's training to do some Paralympics or something. He's got these challenges that he wants to, obstacles and stuff he wants to overcome in his life. They told him that he will never ever walk again, but he's actually been getting out of his wheelchair and standing on his own two legs. And this is just, and that just to me is just like, whether he walks again completely, who knows? But the point of it is, he's actually stood up. I mean, what an achievement is that for him, that he's actually been able to just stand up.
Yeah.
And that is so inspiring, because we got to look at that, and that's when it comes back to, not everything is a material thing. When you talk about the law of attraction, or you talk about manifesting, it's not just about material things. And then it comes back to, what are we grateful for? What energy are we putting out? Because sometimes you might go, and let's use this as an example, because a lot of people, I see this flying around a lot. How do I attract my ex back into my life with the law of attraction? Really makes me laugh. That's one. It's almost like a clickbait for the law of attraction. It's like, I want my ex back in my life. Firstly, why are they your ex?
Exactly.
Why are they your ex? Like, did you do something wrong? Did they do something wrong? What? Like, there's a reason that they're your ex in the first place. So why do you want them back in your life? Now, let's say your ex is a girl called Sharon or a guy called Steve. It could be anything. So let's go with Sharon. So Sharon's the person you want to get back into your life. Like, oh, I want Sharon so bad into my life, and I want to get this ex back into my life. And you're focusing so much on that. Now, maybe at this point, like, she's moved on. Like, she might be with someone else, getting remarried, or doing all of these things. And because you're focusing on that, you're actually missing out on meeting Michelle. I'm just making these names up. Like,
Yeah.
Andy.
Lucky Michelle.
You're just missing out on meeting this person who is actually the person that you are going to vibrationally resonate with, and that is your soulmate. And you're missing out on that because you're focusing on the wrong person, because they've been in your life, and then our ego takes over and like, no, that's the person. No, it maybe isn't the person. Maybe it's this other person, and you're focusing in the wrong place. Your energy's in the wrong place.
Absolutely. And also, can I just say as well, what is it about the ex that you want back? Because if you start breaking it down and thinking, well, I really liked the way that they made me feel that it didn't matter if something went wrong, or I really liked the way that they supported me, or I know that they really loved me. All of these things, if you're missing that, maybe you're missing that in you. So maybe it's something that you can look at internally and give yourself more of that. Support yourself, back yourself more, give yourself more truth, give yourself more love. Where is it that I'm not feeling that love? Where am I empty? Feel it. Put some love back into that place, because once we are whole, we don't need anybody to complete us. We are complete. And once we have that, anyone that we are with is a complement to our journey. And we have no control over anybody else's journey or anybody else on their route to wherever they're going to get. We can travel like this in life, there's a million words, but as long as we have our whole, our complete, that's what we're searching for, that at one with ourselves. Do you agree?
I totally agree. With that. We had this conversation before we came on today. And I know you're working on some pretty cool stuff behind the scenes as well. And we're having this conversation about, like, where does it start? I mean, if you want to attract the right people into your life, or you want to attract the right things into your life, it does start, as you say, with that self-love. Not the self-love as in look in the mirror and like, hey, I'm looking pretty cool today. Because let's face it, no matter, even the people that we feel like might, the typically the good looking or the pretty people, they have insecurities. They all have insecurities. And as a matter of fact, sometimes even more so, sometimes. So, it's finding, it doesn't matter what your shape, size, ethnicity, sexual gender, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because ultimately you've just got to find, like you said, who am I at my core? Because we're deeper than like, I'm Marcus Birks. That's my name that I was given at birth, but I'm not that. I'm more than just this name and this figure and this birth certificate and this passport. That's just my identity. That's my avatar.
Yeah.
Like, who am I at my core? You know, I used to recognize myself as I said, I lived in victim mentality for so long. You know, I went through the racism, went through, you know, as I use this as my story a lot of the time as because it's just the truth. I went through school, getting into trouble, suffering racism. I was the oldest of 6 children. We all had different dads. Our mum suffers with alcoholism, still actually suffers with alcoholism to this day. You know, left school with a criminal record, couldn't even spell my own name. I mean, my dyslexia is still a part of my life, but you have to use tools around that. So, you know, I could live in that. I could live in that, like this poor me syndrome for the rest of my life. Or I can look at it and, as we say, how do you make the law of attraction work? Right, I can't read and write very well. I have dyslexia. Part of it is dyslexia, part of it's laziness, but because I admit I just don't enjoy it because I find it difficult. But I've had to find tools around it. So I have Grammarly on my, I don't even know if to say that right, Grammarly or something. It's called, it's like an app to help me. We've got spell check. The amount of times I'm sat there writing a you know, a post out and I'm pressing Siri and saying, hey, Siri, can you spell this for me? And it's probably it might be this. Sometimes with dyslexia, I'm trying to spell the word this.
Oh, look, Siri's ask.
Siri's doing it now. That's there you go. Siri's doing that. So
Thanks.
yeah, thank you. But you know, that's what you talk about, embracing the technology. And look, I could sit there and go, I can't spell, I can't do this, and I'm never going to have my own business because. And I used to do that. I'm like, how could I be self-employed and have my own business? And you know, now I own a music agency, and we represent, you know, yourself and loads of other acts that go around doing shows, and that's not just all fancy. It's not all just bright lights and shows. There's a lot of office work that has to go into that. You know, I'm designing spreadsheets and accounting sheets. Now,
Hard work.
I can't even do my 20 times table barely. You
You
know,
know, the thing is, though, everything that you can't do, right?
yeah, I'm saying that word as well.
Yeah, but you can communicate, and that is a gift in itself. And you are so incredible at inspiring and communication, and that's a gift. So people are given gifts to live throughout their lives, and we're all so different, and that's what makes the world so perfect as well. Because I'm challenged with maths and science and stuff, you know, that school was not. Me and school, we weren't best friends, let's put it that way. I wanted to run a mile. In fact, I did, and I got asked to leave from 3 schools.
Do you know what, Dan? It's a good point there that you've just said, because school's a weird one because a lot of people's insecurities and a lot of people's like story to tell themselves actually stems back from school. It really does stem back from those school years, because people will say, yeah, but like, I've been bullied my whole life and I've done this, and it's like, I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's an easy thing to overcome, because it just isn't. Bullying's a horrible thing. But when you become an adult and as you get older, we can start to choose who do we surround ourselves with. They say that you become the top 5 people you surround yourself with.
Oh wow.
And that can become very difficult, because in my case, I've had people in my, you know, very close circle that I'm like, should I really be surrounding myself with these people? But then it's like, how do you absorb the energy from those people? So, pardon me, I won't go into this too deeply because I don't want to call out
Yeah, of
people
course.
that I respect and love. But I have people in my family that do have a negative outlook on life, and you know, but I have this rule. I'm like, when I come into your house and I come to visit you, or you come to my house, you come to visit me, this is my rules. And it's not I'm telling you what you can do in your home. It's just I'm setting my boundaries of of my relationship with you, and this is my boundaries. I don't watch the news. If the news is big enough, I'm going to hear about it. I didn't even know about all this stuff that was going on in the world until like we got shut down
Yeah.
because you know, I don't watch the news. That's a rule of mine. I don't want negative stuff being put into my subconscious.
Mm.
And I don't want to hear any negative talk about other people, or, you know, whatever it may. If it's a negative energy, I don't want to know. If we're going to have a nice conversation and it's positive, and, you know, we're talking about other people. So I was with some family last night, and somebody came up in conversation, and a certain person started to talk about another person quite negatively, and I was like, yeah, but I don't want to hear that. Like, let's look at the positives of that person, because, like, we can talk about the negatives all day long, but if we focus on them, we're gonna what does it come back to? Where focus goes, energy flows. So,
Absolutely.
and so again, just coming back to this whole law of attraction thing, and I hope this starts to make sense to people of why the law of attraction does and doesn't work for some people. And if you are a person watching this video and you're still a bit confused about that, then maybe you need to go back a little step and study the law of attraction and go in a self a little bit more to be able to come back at it and understand why it's not working, or what is it you're looking for that isn't working. Because, you know, a lot of the time, let's face this reality. A lot of people look for the law of attraction because they go, I want to be this, this, and that, the other. And if you come to the root core, they actually just want to make some money. That's that. You know, that's why the law of attraction in a public space is such a big space, because they actually just want to make some money. But what is it they want with that money? So it comes
That's
back
right.
to Danielle. What do you want the money for?
That's
What
right.
experience do you want to bring into your life with
You,
that money? Money is just money.
you see, the thing is, though, you don't necessarily need money to live the lifestyle that you want to live. That's the point. So for me, from my point of view, it's never been about the money for me, right? It's been about the lifestyle and what I wanted to see and what I wanted to experience and what I wanted to do. And I became a cruise ship lecturer. And I mean, at the moment, the cruise ship industry is not great, and don't get me wrong, but I will be back. But I create a millionaire plus lifestyle, and that's from what I'm doing. Like, I see the world, and I meet the most incredible people, and I'm doing a job that I absolutely love. To me, and I have my freedom and my free time, and I have my family, and I have everything that I could possibly want. I don't need multi-millions of pounds in my bank account. I've got it in my world.
Yeah.
So you can live the life of your dreams, but it doesn't necessarily come from where you think it might be coming from. It can be coming from many sources. That's the law of attraction, to be open.
Very powerful, Danielle. And I know your lifestyle, and, you know, we've been the same. We've lived this incredible lifestyle. You know, for me to go from you know, this poor kid growing up in the victim world to living, you know, staying in some of the most beautiful hotels in the world, going to some of the most beautiful places, you know, having these experiences that you can't even buy in some respects, especially when it comes down to the gigging scenario and some of the shows that we've been on. And, you know, it is incredible. And that is, you know, like you say, it's what the law of attraction is. Something you just said there that just sparked a little thing in me, slightly moving. We're having a nice flow here, aren't we, today?
I love it. I love our flow.
Yeah, and what people I've heard this now, people going, oh, the cruise ship industry's over. That's it. Never, cruises are never coming back. At the end, I might be quoting this wrong. So if there's anybody expert out there on this, I apologize if I'm quoting it wrong. But I think it was after World War II, the shipping industry was done.
Right.
Done. Like people like, that's it, the shipping industry's over. And a guy called Aristarchus Onassis, might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Aristarchus Onassis, brought up all the ships. Nobody wanted them. And when the shipping industry started to grow again, became one of the richest men in the world. If you want to talk about it from a monetary perspective, so, because let's be honest, like, let's go to the flip side of this. Having money is important to a degree, but it's the energy you want to connect to that money. So, like we said, you know, earning the money is not the thing. It's the feeling. So you have a new car, or you have a new outfit, or you go to a good holiday, or you have a new flat screen TV, or whatever it is that you have. What is it you're truly buying? You're buying a feeling. You're buying a feeling. So therefore, like, money is just paper. That's what money is.
That's
It's like,
right.
what was the energy you're connecting? I know some very wealthy people, as we all do, as we do in the worlds that we've kind of been in, you know, now, you know, that within the music industry and, you know, this world of marketing and stuff. You get to meet a lot of wealthy people, and one of the most wealthy people I've ever met got a helicopter parked in a hangar in the back garden with their own helipad. They've got a dojo in the house, a swimming pool, a recording studio, their own bar. I mean, this list just goes on. Incredible. Went to this house and like, this is insane. This is insane. But my opinion is, not a very happy person. Not very happy, or not very happy person, and quite lost inside, being honest. And there's this exterior of like
Everything.
strength and everything, but peel back them layers, and actually all of them things are just to try and get this feeling. And this is a really powerful thing, because I don't know who this is, but I heard a quote about it by somebody that was a billionaire, and he said, "What?" Sorry, not a quote. It was an interview. Someone that was a billionaire, and he said, "What is it? What is the most incredible thing you have in your life?" And he's like, and you'd expect him to say it's the yachts and it's this and that and the other. And he's like, actually, where I feel the most complete is when I'm away from everything and I'm walking through the woods with my dogs. And
Oh,
that for me is so powerful, because I love touring, going on stage in front of thousands of people. I love traveling and staying in beautiful hotels and being on a beach and doing all, you know, this list of things. I like, you know, I love going on track days and driving fast cars around a track, and, you know, all of those things. That those are in those moments of like, you know, that's energy. I'm
yeah.
going to go to a track day. We take this paper that we've worked hard for with our energy, and we go in, transfer that energy into something else. And I quite like that energy going, like, you know, right foot to the floor and going around a track at 100 miles an hour. But the thing is, you know, take all of that stuff away. What I love the most in the world, for me, and it's whatever it is for anybody else, I love being at home with my dogs. I love walking through the woods with my dogs and my wife. And, you know, just those moments where you're just like, this is just beautiful. And this
Yeah.
costs zero. It costs zero. Just walking through the woods with my wife and my dogs, listening to the birds, looking at the like, we're very blessed to live in, you know, on the edge
Yeah.
of the Peak District. So we just look out into, you know, the distance of the hills and the rocks and the woods,
Wow.
and that's a feeling. That's a
Gratitude.
feeling.
That's gratitude, that is. And the thing is, we all have nothing to prove. We don't need to prove ourselves to anybody. And if you feel that you do need to prove for yourselves, when wasn't that a problem? And that's what you've got to go and fix, because
Oh,
somebody somewhere along your line stopped you from having to not prove yourself.
that's
Go back there.
I, I'm sorry to jump in on this, but what you've just said there. I was talking to my brother about this the other day, and we was having this phone call and a conversation about it, and he says, "I bet you feel now you drive, because you know, drive quite a nice car, and I have quite a nice tour van, and, you know, material things." And he was like, "I bet now, after all the people that doubted you and called you the names and said you will never make it and all of that, I bet you just drive around now and think like, screw you type of thing, like, put it in different words, not
Yeah.
not like, yeah." I bet he's like, "I bet you like, yeah, you know, I've made it now, except." And I went, "I don't." And he's like, "Oh, you must do. I don't believe you." And I said, "I honestly don't feel like that. I used to want to feel like that. That was my aim. I used to go like, I can't wait till one day I can be driving through like my hometown and I'm in this, like, you know, this luxury car, and I'd be like, you know, I've made it type of thing." And it's like, I'm glad I don't feel like that, because if I did feel like that, I'd know that it's the wrong reason. I'm
Yeah.
driving the car for the wrong reason. Pardon me, I'm
Oh,
not
you
the,
been eating?
yeah, yeah, I've had my stew this morning. Yes, yeah, but it would all be for the wrong reasons. It'd all be for the wrong reasons. Actually, what actually the truth is, how I do feel about that is, I actually feel, I feel blessed that the law of attraction is working and has worked, and that, you know, we've truly started to manifest some of the things that we truly wanted into our life. We've worked damn hard for that. The energy has been dispersed, let's put it that way. You know, we have taken the action, we've believed in it, we've had the correct desire. And actually, a few days ago, that's why I wanted to bring this up. I saw a guy that has never liked me, said some horrible things about me, but I don't really know him. I've just heard this stuff coming from other people. Now, he may have grown out of that. I don't know. I wouldn't know, because I don't really listen to that stuff anymore. And equally, I just want to point this out at this point. I equally don't take the compliments as much anymore either. Not that you shouldn't take compliments. You should take compliments, but it's not, you don't have your worth and value based on what anyone else says, good or bad, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's nice to hear nice things, and it's not so nice to hear horrible things, but that's not where your value comes from either. So just want to make the point of that. So I saw this guy, and he was driving a pretty tatty car, a bit like my old car from back in the day. And, you know, and just looked a bit sad. Now, he might be happy as a Larry, I don't know. But instead of me having that feeling of like, look at you, and here's me and my brand new Mercedes. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel that. No. I felt like, I almost felt sad. I almost felt like a sad feeling in a way. So it was totally not. And don't get me wrong, this guy could be happy as anything.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm just like, I don't care. I'm a millionaire driving around in this thing, and I've got this amazing life.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but you know, just from my first impression of seeing that, and it was interesting for me to not be like, oh yeah, look at me, like look at you type of thing. Yeah. Totally the opposite. It was like,
it's because all the things that it's the focus. So what you perceived him to think about you, you've actually let that go. Yeah. And because you've let that go, you're in a place where there is no judgment there. You see, you only feel like you need to prove yourself to someone is if you're holding on to the pain or to something back that needs to be healed. That's when you feel like you need to prove who you are, because look at me now. Look, you can't say that to me anymore because I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But when you let it go truly, and you truly start loving who you are as a person, and I'm grateful for everything that you do have in your life, whether it be a material or immaterial or spiritual, whatever it may be, as soon as you let everything go that isn't important. And when I say it isn't important, I mean, is it really going to matter in 3 months? Is it really going to matter in a year, in 5 years? Is that thing going to matter? And if it doesn't, then it is not important. And the important things are things we cannot control. So it's pointless worrying about them. And the things that are important, you can't control. So did I say that the other way around?
Danielle, the thing is, right, as I said earlier on in this conversation, as you know, I went through some really bad times with anxiety.
You did.
And in those moments, nothing material, the car, the money, the gigs, the lifestyle, nothing mattered, because in that moment I'd go, I don't care about any of this, because I did a quote the other day. So it's a famous quote, it's an old Indian proverb of a man or woman. I have to say that these days or you get moaned at. So a man with his health has 1,000 wishes, but a man without his health has but one. And
yes,
that puts that into perspective, because that's why, you know, the car on the drive is just a form of energy. Because what is it really? It's rubber and metal and cloth and leather and things that have been manifested together into a car. You know, that's what it really is. Yeah. Because if I had a choice between this little guy here or that car out there, what am I going to choose? Car hands down. It's not
it.
But honestly, like, you know,
I love you.
Not just him. She's over there. She won't.
I love your doggy. I was going to say I love your puppies.
Yeah. Love
beautiful puppies.
but we've just you know, this little tiny ball of energy, innocent, like universal energy right here, that I absolutely love more than anything. I would literally give up any material thing I've got tomorrow to have another day, week with this little guy and that little.
Oh, Marcus.
That is the truth, though. That is the God's universe, whatever you want to call it. It's the truth. It's the truth, because that brings that
That
this
right there.
this energy brings more value to our life
Yeah.
than you even imagine. So we said this, when you think about a life without these dogs in our life, can't imagine what life was like without them.
No.
So we don't have children now. Obviously, you have a son who's the most intelligent young guy I've ever met. He's like,
Yeah, he's wonderful. And he has his issues, don't get me wrong, but he's a beautiful child.
I can't even imagine. That's what I'm saying. I can't even imagine how you must feel about having that beautiful soul, that beautiful child that you have, and that's like, again, coming back to some people that are in this like, oh, but life is so bad for me. It's like, hang on a second. Like, some of those people, you look and go, you've got this
Yeah.
amazing child right there that should be everything. Right. Don't get me wrong. I know.
No, I'll tell you what.
At times I know that, but
I know. Can I tell you what though? Having Ethan was one of the biggest lessons that I ever learned in being able to have to let go. Because with Ethan, I don't know anyone that's watching that doesn't know. His dad broke up with me the week before his first birthday, and it was the biggest lesson I ever had to go through to learn that it was. I mean, you can look into my story. I've got it all on YouTube and stuff, so you can see a bit more about me, who I am authentically, right inside. But it was the biggest journey that I had to go through to let it all go and focus. This is all about Ethan. This isn't about anything that I could control. This isn't about you've done me wrong. This isn't about you don't deserve this. This isn't about all of the things that were self-hurt. It was nothing to do with that. All it was to do with acceptance, letting it all go. And he's his own human being in his own right. And I have no right to contain him. He has to be at one with everyone that loves him in his life. And that's so important. So that was very hard for me to do, but that was the biggest lesson for me of letting go. And I kind of like work my life with that intention, because I think sometimes the hardest thing to do is to let go of control. But as soon as you kind of realize that we don't have any control, we really just don't. It's just manifested. It's almost like you believe you have control of a situation, but it's something like this pandemic, and we're stopped. What control do we have? We don't have any control. All we've got control of is how we're reacting right now, and getting into the present tense, get in that present tense, deal with things from right here, right now. And if it's important, and dealing with that emotion right now, that's what I believe. So yeah, it was a journey.
I mean, the thing is, Danielle, it's again powerful, so powerful, because I think just as humans, we think we have to be perfect. We think we have to be in so much control of stuff. Trust me now, I can't say that I was a control freak. I am actually a control freak. I have to say that. I've said this to you, Anta, before. Like, I am negative. I'm like, I've got.
Remember, careful, don't say I am, Marcus, because you are. Remember.
I'm saying, it's like I've said it so many times. I've got this negative streak, and I've got this beast that I contain constantly and all this. But that's just being human. We all have that. We can use them as excuses, but it's the practice. It's the daily practice. Like, I get up in the morning and do morning rituals because I know it's going to set me up for the day. I want to get rid of that negativity when it comes in. I'm not saying that our life is perfect and we don't have negative thoughts and we don't get angry and we don't get, we don't have doubts. We're all human. I think if anybody went, oh no, I don't get any of them things, then that then is their ego taking over 100%, because we're all just human. We're all just human. We have these things. It's how you said it earlier. How do we deal with it? It's how do we deal with the thing that's presented to us? And sometimes the things that come into our life that seem the most challenging and the most hard, and they seem like, why is this happening to me? Then remember that it might not be happening to you, it might be happening for you.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, like as we said with the relationship thing and trying to pull your ex back into your life, maybe sometimes we just like we're focusing on the wrong thing, because actually, one thing I will say, I always was like, I want to be the next like Robbie Williams, and I want to be the next this and that, and I'm going to be a superstar and all that. When I was growing up, I was so desperate to be famous. And it's like, as I got older and started to experience the industry and start, like, obviously we come on camera and we go on stage and do that, but it's not for fame. It's a different way of looking at it
energy.
now. So it's a different energy to look at it with now. So, but I realized this, my passion is music, and I love music. It will always be a part of my life. Thankfully, it's also my wife's passion and always going to be a part of her life. So we're very blessed. We do this together and we get to travel together. We get to do this. Now, had I have got famous when I was younger and got into some of these bands that I, almost got into, I may have never met my wife, and now may never be in this position that I'm in right now, to be traveling around the world under normal circumstances with her.
Yeah.
And experiencing what we experience. And then in all of that, I realized, and it's why I'm doing this now, what's my purpose? Did I go through all of that stuff for nothing? Did I go through all of those fights and the racism and the hardships and all of those lessons that life taught me? What was before? They wasn't there for me to dwell on forever. They're there for me to teach, to take the lessons, and now I can share those lessons as a coach, as a law of attraction coach, as a life transformation coach, as an anxiety recovery coach. Take those experiences, and so maybe that's my purpose. Maybe that's
I
what.
agree. And
So,
I'll just say, anyone that's watching, if anyone's got any questions, like we've got 10 minutes left. So if anyone wants to ask us any questions in the comments, we can see them because technology rocks. And we'll be happy to answer them. And I'd also like to say language is so important, because just I am, those two words are so powerful. I am. So just be very mindful, whatever you're saying, or just reframing it in a different way, because I am it's just like you're telling yourself who you are. You're asking, I am this. So ask for something good.
It's a word, Danielle, and I will say this, because like you've just pulled me up on it, and this is it's the thing of like you saying, it's being aware of your language that you're using, because we all use the wrong language at times. I pull people up on it, and they'll be like, don't say it like that, maybe reframe it like this, and me and my wife do it to each other, because again, I used to go through the day and go, oh, I've just said that, and then I'd be negative about it's almost like a counterintuitive thing. I'm trying to be positive, and that's making me negative, because I'm like, I'm not doing it right. It's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. There's perfection in perfection, and that's the thing. And it's like you said, just be aware when you say a word like, oh, like I just did it, I'm negative. By nature, I am negative, but I'm not, because I'm every day making a positive of, I'm a positive person. So I don't like the old me, and my natural tendencies are to go, oh, it's all going wrong, but then the positive me, who I am now, that I now am, then that is like, that's the person that comes out. So in those moments, you've got to catch yourself and go, hang on, what did I say? And even if you say it out loud to yourself, and that's what a part of the morning rituals that we do is, and I won't go through the whole thing, but we start it with, I'm so happy and grateful now now I have this in my life, or that in my life, or whatever that is for you.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, start every day with positive. So like, if we were going to put everything in a nutshell, positivity, law of attraction, to live your life, what would you say? Because I would say live with gratitude. Don't be afraid to ask whoever it is, source, God, whatever it may be, what you want. Don't be afraid to ask, and then let it go and trust. Come from a place of self-love, self-worth, and just let it go and trust that it will happen, and the right thing will always get to you. It will always come to you. It might not be what you think you want, but it will always be what you need. You'll always get it, and you can attract anything. Notice the little things, because they're the big things. They really are. Live with kindness, compassion, curiosity. Live your life on those beautiful exponential things. Respect people, nature, respect everything, and be thankful. Again, when you get it, be gratitude, thanks. That's my law of attraction in a nutshell. Bang.
Yeah, Danielle, I don't think I can say it any better, because that's the truth. But I'm going to come at it from the way that I come at the law of attraction, and you know, the way that I'm going to put it out to the world is everything you've just said is great to put that into a nutshell. But for again, so important, those people that go, the law of attraction doesn't work and it's not working for me, and still quite confused, even if they've watched this, then you've got to listen to it again and start to realize of like, where is it I think I'm going wrong? Because we've given so much information in this talk today of why it may or may not work for you. Now we can go deeper into that on deeper stuff, right, when it's not just a generic kind of like chat on a Sunday. But I would say it like this: if you want to attract something in your life, really truly look at it and find the reason why you want to attract that in your life. What is the reason? What's the true value of that reason? Is that going to resonate with who you really are? And if it is, and it's a passion, and it's from here, it's a true desire from your heart, because we think in so many different ways. We think from the head, we think from the gut, and we think from the heart. If it's a true heart feeling, and you truly know, we know, inherently we know. When it's that, wish for it. Send a rocket of desire, as they say. You send that rocket of desire out there, but that rocket of desire will not work unless you set it and forget it. That is the truth. But you've got to set it. So by setting it, what is that? Write it down, make the goal, start taking action steps, make a plan towards how you're going to manifest it into your life, and then forget it and just get on with it, because it becomes part of your daily life. Like a more for me has become like brushing my teeth. So that's the part of the daily life. And then if it's meant to be, it will manifest into your life. And maybe along that journey, something else will come in and you go, it was actually that I'm looking for. So I think I'll put it to this point of the nutshell. Have a desire, take massive action, and believe in it. That's my nutshell.
That is absolutely brilliant. Marcus, I've had the best flipping hour. I love chatting with you. You inspire me on a regular basis, and you
You do me, Danielle.
Together. And I'm so grateful to anyone that's watching. And if anybody wants to contact us, if anyone needs any direction or help, or do not be scared to ask, honestly, because that's one of the main things in life as well. Don't be scared to ask for anything, because if you don't ask, you don't get. Right?
Yeah. And I do want to say this on this right now as well. Like, we've talked about traveling the world and all these things, and like, you know, having nice cars and all this stuff and that, and you know, we didn't always have them things. Just let's put it into perspective. We didn't always have them things. People will sometimes say it's all right for you, but we still have goals and dreams and ambitions that are much bigger than we have right now, which still are, you know, in the linear world still seem a million miles away, but they're not, because it's all here for us to get. And at the end of the day, if, again, just as a reflection, if you think like that, then it won't be for you, because like, we're just living proof that this can happen. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm, you know, in our business, just being real out there, our business has literally shut down in the last couple of months. But I'm not here going, oh, we're going out of business. If I run out of everything and we lose everything, I still got my dogs, I still walk in the woods, and as long as I'll be sleeping on my brother's couches and my mum's couch and whoever, if I have to. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, it's not just the material thing. Like, I hope I don't, you know, let's say the hope is I don't lose all of these things, but at the end of the day, it's just put it into perspective. You know, you can be here one minute, you can be here that next minute, you can, and life just throws, and as you say, we're not in control. So just have this open heart and this open mind, and just let it in. Let it in, because it coming in is important. So
feel it, live in the present, and just enjoy that journey. Be happy, be truly physically, ecstatically, emotionally, excitedly happy. Yeah. And on that note, I'm going to end broadcast.
Let's go.
I love you all. Listen, comment on Catch Up, subscribe to the channels, both of our channels, and enjoy our journey, because we do. Raise your vibration, be the light, and you create a world.
Always enjoy the journey, reshape your life, and create a world that you design. 100%. Danielle, it's been an absolute pleasure as always.
Amazing. Love you all. Right, I'm ending broadcast. Hold on.